Good day, everyone. This is yours truly, John Michael Verzosa, and welcome to our organization and management subject. So, this is part 2 of chapter 6, leading, which is module 15, motivational theories. For today is from Patrick Dixon. And according to him, motivation is a battle for the heart, not just an appeal to the mind. Passion is always an expression of the soul. So, what is motivation? Huh? It is the desire and action towards goal-directed behavior. No? It what keeps you running. No? According to the commercial nga ni Nescafe, para kanino ka bumabangon? What motivates you? And it is a vital concept that is being used in not just psychology but also in business and schools and other relevant areas. So, the nature of motivation. Before we start the nature of motivation, let us give us a sample definition of motivation. So, first, according to Dalton E. McFarland, motivation refers in the way in which urges, drives, desires, aspirations, or needs direct control or explain the behavior of human beings. Now, for now, let us consider ourselves as human beings, no? All of us as human beings. Huwag po natin i-consider yung iba na quote-unquote hayop, no? So, another is from Michael Dwekus. And according to him, motivation is the act of stimulating someone or oneself to get the desired course of action. You want to achieve something, then you can motivate someone or even yourself. Gusto kong maging valedictorian. Gusto kong maging CEO. Huh? Then, you must do something. Hindi naman po yung puro wishful thinking lang or nananaginip ng gising. Huh? There are two types. You have the intrinsic and the extrinsic. So ano po ba yun? Work behavior according to intrinsic nature is being performed for its own inherent value. No? The satisfactions a person receives in the process of performing a particular action. So let's say you want or you aspire to become a CPA. No? Ano po ba yung natatanggap mong satisfaction? Are you satisfied? No? Are you motivated? Do you enjoy doing what you're doing, or are you not happy? Nagdurusa ka ba? Naghihirap ka ba? Hindi ka ba natutuwa sa ginagawa mo? That is intrinsic motivation. Then, for extrinsic naman, work behavior is being performed to acquire some reward, which may be material or social in nature. So, yung extrinsic naman, gagawin ko to, baka maging ako, maging milyonaryo ako, o bigyan ako ng pabuya ni boss ng bonus, or rewards. They originate externally as a result of pleasing others. You do not want to become a CPA, but your mom wants you to become a CPA. O ayaw mo magpulis, pero tatay mo pulis, napipilitan ka. So, that is extrinsic nature of motivation. There are three theories of motivation, or you may say perspectives. First, you have the content perspectives, the reinforcement perspectives, and the process perspectives. Ano po ba ang pinagkaiba-iba nitong tatlo na to? What are the differences between these three perspectives? Content perspectives focus on a person's underlying needs and label those particular needs that motivate behavior. Ano po ba ang pangangailangan ng isang tao? It helps managers understand what motivates people. Iba-iba naman po tayo ng motivation, but usually that motivation is derived from a certain need. Huh? Reinforcement perspectives simply looks at the relationship between behavior and its consequences. No? So, paano ba ang pag-uugali ng isang tao? No? At ano yung magiging effect? No? It's like a cause and effect relationship. And last but not the least is the process perspectives, which explains how people select behavioral actions to meet their needs. So, pumipili ang tao ng kanilang pag-uugali, no? To meet their needs and determine whether their choices are successful. Am I doing the right thing, huh, in this process? Or will I be punished if I make a mistake? So those are the three, prevalent theories of motivation. Let's start with the content, or also known as need perspectives of motivation. Ibig sabihin, need muna, no? Pangangailangan. Once you fulfill that need, no, then you will be contented. That's why it's called also as content. No? It is what makes a person feel that contentment. So the following are the proponents of the content perspectives of motivation. First, for the hierarchy of needs, you have Abraham Maslow. ERG theory, you have Clayton Alderfer. The two-factor theory, you have Frederick Herzberg. And last but not the least, for the acquired needs, you have David McClelland. So let's start with the first one, which is hierarchy of needs. We have already discussed this one in Module 5. But let's just do a recap. So this one is, of course, and foremost, the physiological needs. Dito po tayo magsisimula. Then we have the safety needs, the belongingness needs, esteem needs, and the self-actualization needs. And for the fulfillments of the job and on the job, nasa kaliwa po yung ating off the job and on the job on the right side. For physiological needs of the job, of course, we all need food, we all need water, we all need oxygen. So on the job, at least, it's either we have heat or air, or here in the Philippines, more of aircon, or at least electric pan man lang, and the base salary or minimum wage. For the safety needs in the of the job, we need freedom from war, pollution, violence, among many others. And of the job is safe work, fringe benefits, and job security. For the belongingness needs, you have family, friends, community groups of the job, and then on the job you need work groups, like teams, clients, co-workers, and supervisors. Esteem needs, this one is a little bit more difficult to achieve. For off the job, you need the approval of family, friends, and the community. Whereas office, we have the recognition, high status, and increased responsibilities. So let's just remember, with great power comes great responsibility. And last but not the least, the hardest part to achieve is the self-actualization needs. Of the job, you need education, religion, hobbies, and personal growth. And then of the job, of course, opportunities for training, advancement, growth, and creativity. So let's not delve on this, because we have already discussed this one. If you have forgotten, you can recheck the previous modules, particularly module number 5. Hierarchy of needs, let's move on to the ERG theory. So what is ERG theory? It stands for, first, the existence needs, the relatedness needs, and the growth needs. So what are the definitions of each? Existence needs are needs that focus on the development of human potential and the desire for personal growth and increased competence. Relatedness needs, on the other hand, are the needs for satisfactory interpersonal relationships with others. And last but not the least, the growth needs are needs for physiological and material well-being. For the two-factor approach, usually when you ask workers what makes them motivated in their work, it's usually, of course, replied, I am not satisfied with my job, or I am satisfied with my job. Hence, we have here two types. You have the maintenance factors, or uh, the area of satisfaction, and the hygiene factors, or areas of dissatisfaction. So let's start with maintenance factors. You have the advancement. Of course, if there is advancement in the organization, then you will feel motivated to do a lot. Same with recognition. And if you're given responsibility, if you are trusted by the organization to do what is right and just, then it also leads to satisfaction. Of course, another is job security or tenure. Diba? And personal growth. You're growing as an individual, not just as an employee of a company or of a business. And the work itself. Is your work motivating or is it not? For the hygiene factors, on the other hand, you have the working conditions. No? Yun naman yung mga turn-offs natin. So these are areas of dissatisfaction. How are the working conditions of the company or organization? The pay and the security. Are you given an ample amount of pay? Are you given the proper compensation? Is there enough of a job security, or pag may problema, you're one of the first people to leave the organization? The company policies, are they too strict or are they too unfair for you? Supervision. How is the supervision at the workplace? Is it too much or too little? Your personal life. Maybe it's already affecting your family. Maybe it's affecting your health, mental health, if not physical health. And last but not the least, the interpersonal relationships. The need-based approaches to motivation, this acquired needs theory is the one that has received the maximum amount of support. Why? Because according to this theory, certain types of needs are acquired during an individual's lifetime. Therefore, people are not born to have these needs, but rather they just acquired them as they went on through their life experiences. According to these needs, to this theory, individuals can acquire three types of needs. And first, we will start with the need for achievement. So, those who have high need of achievement have a strong tendency or a need to become successful. As children, they are praised for their hard work, huh? Which forms the foundation of their persistence. Praise for their intelligence can undermine a child's motivation and performance. As adults, they are preoccupied with doing things better than they did in the past. And they always strive for continuous improvement, in doing their performance. They are relentless on their goals, and particularly goals that take years to achieve. They are very suited in positions such as sales, huh, which there are explicit goals. Of course, sales. Huh? Feedback is immediately available, which will often help them become more successful than they already are. In fact, they are so fascinated to organizations that are merit-based and reward performance rather than seniority. They also do well as entrepreneurs, scientists, or engineers. Due to their success in lower jobs where their individuals' contributions matter the most, those with high need for achievement are often promoted to higher level positions. They are relentless. Huh? So they want to accomplish something difficult, as you can see here. Huh? They have very high standards for success. They can master tasks that most people will consider as complex. And they have the tendency to be able to achieve and surpass what others accomplished. The second type is the need for affiliation. Those who have these desire to form close personal relationships, avoid conflict, and establish warm friendships. They want to be liked by people. Given a choice, they prefer to interact with other people and be with friends. So this type of need is great uh, on jobs and occupations that require interpersonal interactions, such as a social worker or even a teacher. However, the drawback for this is once they reach managerial position, they may serve as a disadvantage because these individuals tend to be overly what? Concerned about how they are perceived by others. In fairness, or in short, they are self-conscious. They might find it too complicated to perform some tasks, huh? Or other aspects of a manager's job, such as giving employees serious feedback. Why? Because they want to please people or disciplining underperformers. Thus, the work environment may be characterized by weakness and may even direct high performance to lead. huh? You try to please everyone, you please no one. And last but not the least is the need for power. So, those who have a higher need for power desire to influence others and control their environment. A need for power may be good or bad. huh? It takes shape of seeking and using power for one's own, such as changing the way things are done. huh? So they desire to influence, as you can see here. huh? Influence or control, whether for the better or worse. It manifests itself in more unselfish forms, such as changing the way things are done so that work environments are more positive, huh? Or negotiating more resources for one's department. Each of these three types of needs have its own sets of pros and cons. In fact, the need for power is observed as an important trait for effectiveness huh, in managerial and leadership positions. I think this number three is the best for that position. huh. They want to be responsible for others, and of course, they want to have authority over the others. So, this theory of acquired needs has a significant implication for the motivation of employees. Managers need to be aware of the dominant needs of their employees in order to motivate them. While people who have a high need for achievement may respond to goals, those with a high need for power may try to gain or influence others over those they work with, and individuals high in their need for affiliation may be motivated to get the support. huh? So each of these three needs are fulfilling their own sets of roles in the organization. Next is the process-based perspectives of motivation. Again, you have four proponents but only three theories. First and foremost is the goal setting, and the proponents are Edwin Locke and Gary Latham. Next is the equity theory, which was already discussed during module 12 or 13. You have here the proponent, J. Stacy Adams, and the expectancy theory by Victor Broom. Okay, the goal setting theory proposes that managers can increase the motivation and enhance the performance of employees by setting specific challenging goals and then helping the people track their progress toward the achievement of goals using feedback. So there are four key components of goal setting theory. You have the goal specificity, the goal difficulty, the goal acceptance, and the feedback. Goal specificity refers to the degree in which the goals are concrete and unambiguous. There are specific goals such as visit one customer per day, di ba? Or sell 1 million worth of sales per day. Those are concrete. No? May figures. Or increase merchandise sales. For example, a lack of clear specific goals is cited as a major cause of failure of performance incentive plans. Next, you have the goal difficulty. So hard goals are sometimes even more motivating than the easy goals. Why? It feels better if you achieve those goals. So highly ambitious goals stretch the people's abilities and strives them to work harder and motivate them going forward. For the goal acceptance, employees have to buy into the goals and be committed in them. Thus, employees need to walk the walk and talk the talk. Huh? They also must accept that the reality of the goals must be achieved, and thus it motivates them. Having people uh, participate in setting goals is a great exercise. And last but not the least is feedback. So people get information about how well they are doing in the progress towards achieving their goals. Theory. The equity theory focuses on individuals' perceptions of how fairly they are treated, huh? As already discussed in Module 13. No? It also relates to the employee's intellectual processes for balancing his or her effort and the reward he or she gets from it. So if that employee feels that he or she is treated unfairly or one of his colleagues, is being praised tapos siya hindi, pareho lang naman sila ng sweldo, then they might upscale or downscale their work effort. So the following are implications of the equity model. So one, managers must ensure fairness in rewards and compensation systems. Lahat po sila pantay-pantay. Number two, managers must adopt transparent procedures in formulating policies on rewards and compensation systems. As much as possible, be transparent, be honest to your people, especially with the generation today, the Gen Z. They prefer honesty above all. Number three, managers must adopt an appropriate performance appraisal system. And number four, managers must ensure a mechanism for grievance system. So here, uh, highlight ko lang ulit, ensure fairness, adopt transparent procedures, adopt an appropriate performance appraisal system. Yeah. Minsan yan lang naman hinahanap ng mga empleyado eh. Ensure a mechanism for grievance system. This one. To ensure that the workers' complaints about compensation are heard. Hindi po yung nagsumbong ng empleyado tapos wala na pong narinig ulit. No? Are heard and addressed. And that is our equity theory. So for the expectancy theory, individual motivation to put forth more or less effort is determined by a rational calculation in which individuals assess their situation as well as their motivation. So you have here the first question is whether the person believes that high levels of effort will lead to outcomes of interest such as performance or success, which is expectancy. Next is the degree which the persons believe that the performance will lead to an outcome of reward, no? Or performance reward. And that is instrumentality. And last but not the least is the third question, wherein individuals are also concerned about the value of the rewards awaiting them. And that is balance. This is the employee's value to that said reward. If you multiply all three of them, you have here motivation. And last but not the least is the reinforcement perspectives of motivation. The following people are the proponents of the reinforcement theory. For direct reinforcement, there are two of them. One for behavioral conditioning, which is Ivan Pavlov. And for the operant conditioning, you have B.F. Skinner. For the social learning theory, you have Albert Bandura. So direct reinforcement or reinforcement theory illustrates four interventions to transform employee behavior. Two of these methods are increasing the frequency of the desired behaviors, while the remaining two are methods of reducing the frequency of the undesired behaviors. So for the good ones, for increasing the frequency, you have the positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. And for the reducing of frequency, you have punishment and extinction. So positive reinforcement is the administration of a pleasant and rewarding consequence following a desired behavior. Negative reinforcement, on the other hand, the people will change a specific behavior to avoid the undesired result that said behavior provokes. For punishment, the imposition of unpleasant outcomes of an employee. And extinction is the withholding of a positive reward. So to illustrate, so here is an example scenario of the reinforcement theory. So let's say you're an employee with a slow work rate, and then the supervisor requires or requests faster work. So if you increase the work rate, you will either receive positive or negative reinforcement, also known as avoidance learning. So if it's positive, you will be praised or recommended for a pay raise. For negative reinforcement, also known as avoidance learning, you will get to avoid the reprimands or any negative statements from your supervisor. However, if you will still continue that pace of slow work, you will either be receiving punishment or extinction. Punishment wherein you will be reprimanded or be given or receive negative statements from your supervisor. So punishment is designed to reduce the likelihood that the behavior will then be repeated. And last but not the least, your pay will be withheld. Your raises or merit pay or even any sort of praise, you will be given an extinction wherein it reduces the likelihood that the behavior will be repeated. Or worst case scenario, you will get fired for your performance. Last but not the least is social learning. So social learning is in a sense related to the reinforcement perspective, but it proposes that an individual's motivation can result not just from direct experience of rewards and punishments, but also from the person's observation of other people's behavior. So social learning has three elements. First, you have social learning itself, self-reinforcement, and last but not the least is self-efficacy. So ano po ba yung social learning? It occurs when an individual sees other perform certain behaviors and get rewarded for them. So ibig sabihin po nun, they get the time. They have the time to observe what happens when they achieve something. Also, they get to perceive the behaviors, kung anong mangyayari sa kanila. So thus, when they see something, they get to remember it. It's an easier and better way to learn. For self-reinforcement, an individual motivates his or herself by getting goals in ways of reaching them and then providing positive reinforcement to him or herself when goals are achieved. No need to look at the definition. It's you yourself trying to learn what will happen if you do the right thing or what is perceived to be the right behavior. And last but not the least, the self-efficacy. So it's an individual's belief about his or her ability to successfully accomplish a specific task or outcome. These days, social learning is used, especially now in the online learning system. So everyone needs to learn more about social learning theory, in my personal opinion. Thank you very much, end of module. Thank you for patiently watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as my Instagram and Facebook accounts at Forever Zosa. And as always, wala pong forever pero may Forever Zosa. Goodbye, everyone. I love you all.